Hello everybody, John here again, and today onto the garage we've got BLU the XJL back in the garage to do a whole series of little jobs on her. And I'm going to start by starting to investigate whether or not the speakers are blown in the left hand doors. If so, it's both of them, so it's a hell of a coincidence, but it's by far the quickest, easiest fix after having checked that the connections are fine on the back of the head unit. So no sound coming from the speakers in the base of the doors, although the tweeters etc do work, but they're on a different channel. Okay, so we're going to start off in the rear door. XJL, so the door panel might look a little different to yours if you're following along. First thing is there's a little cap, round cap, centimetre in diameter in the base of the door escutcheon, which you're going to pop out to get a screw that's behind there. This item just here. We need a smaller screwdriver, but that's now out, and that's a Torx T25. Then we've got two more Phillips headed screws underneath the armrest, and then some scrivets on the bottom. There we go, all out. I've got a trim removal tool. I'm just going to hook behind the panel. Oh, it takes a bit of effort to get a few pry tools in, but eventually you get there. So you're looking to pop some clips. I'll show you where they are once the panel's off for your ease. There we go. One more, I think. There, we're off. Going to unhook the door panel and I'll show you what I'm up to. One wire off. Okay, so this is what the door looks like from the inside. From a auto engineer point of view, production line engineer, I've got to say this is a brilliant piece of door design and epic build quality. So we're looking inside a 12-13-year-old car door, and where in almost every other vehicle you would have a plastic membrane, as in a piece of polythene, there's this big ABS panel which seals everything off, and which the door trim, or the door card, which we have here, is attached with very decent quality pins, push-in pins. That means it's just going to snap home. It's disconnected from the electrics with one multi-plug, and up here there is a little mechanism for the door release, which you just unhook Basically just pull the cable around and lift it, drop it back in, drop it in, and then a piece snaps into here. You can see the tiny little Alpine tweeter, and this is just a grill, hence that's why I wasn't tugging to try and get the grill off. The bottom there you've got the puddle light, and here is the wires running through to the connections for the electric windows. Back inside the door panel you can actually see mustiness, mould, I don't know what you want to call it, on that speaker, which is kind of good, because maybe that means it's not a good speaker, which would be the simplest possible solution. Speaker disconnects with this little connector here. Just squeeze, and there's a little, oops, little tang there. You should press down and out it comes. The speaker has to be detached with this frame around the outside, so we'll just get the right Torx connector, which is a T30. And out she comes. Let's see if there's even a cooling fin on the magnet. So, decent quality drivers. So our quickest, easiest way of testing whether that's any good is with a known speaker that works. So I've just got the bare ends of these wires here, but I need to connect into something that previously had just two pins, and they are just pins. So I've got two extra probes that I would use with my multimeter. Here's a little tip for you. If your ends on your multimeter look like these, which most do, get yourself some cheap and cheerful crocodile clips. Whoops. And what you'll find is the sleeve there pushes in really neatly, and you've made up a couple of excellent speaker test leads, which you can find the ends, just plug straight on like so. What you want to make sure is they don't touch, so put this one over here like so, and then we can take this and the speaker to the car, plug it in, and see if all of a sudden we get sound. Okay, so despite bridging this out for a known good speaker, nothing is happening. So we know we're not getting a signal to this speaker. So the next thing is to look at the amplifier, which is in the boot. Okay, so I'm going to take out the boot carpet. Mine's not secured at the front, which is actually quite convenient at the moment, so that's good. Take the whole thing out. There's a little turn buckle here, which if I turn it to the right angle, should loosen this trim off. I don't know what the angle is. Well, it's finally out of its hole. Just basically going to distort this enough, there we go, to pull from the far end. And there's our amplifier. This unit's the sat-nav, disk drive for the sat-nav I should say. This is the CD multi-changer, which is also got issues, and our amplifier. First thing to check is that everything looks like it's connected, and nothing looks like it's been disturbed here. This is cover for the air suspension connections. A little water shield here, and that's again intact, doesn't look like it's been messed with. And this is the optical in. Just going to pull that. You can see it firing. Time to pop that out and see what we can see. There we go. So there's the amplifier out of the car. Oops. And it's a Jaguar part number 2R8318C808BA. A bit of corrosion on the screws there. My instinct is to pop the top, see if there's anything that's an obvious burn or dry joint, and then see if I can buy a cheap replacement. Oh, actually, I thought I was filming taking the cover off this, but the battery went. But that's pretty straightforward, and you work that out easily enough. I've just taken the top off to see if I can see anything that looks untoward. And I'm no electronics expert, but I can obviously recognise burnt bits and pieces, and I can't see anything at all that's obvious. So nothing to see here, as they say. Just continuing my little examination. It would help if I knew what some of the components were doing, but I don't. And I have no particular desire to learn to be an electronics expert. Guessing I should turn the circuit board over. Just have a look on the other side. And again, not my level of expertise, but I do know that these two are bolted down to the base. So for me, it feels like it's time to surrender. Which is very unlike me, but more likely on electronics than anything else. Nope, not happening, and I don't know what I'm doing, so that's the surrender point. So I'm just going to reassemble this, and then we're going to see if we can get a replacement. Okay, well, I've just had myself a little coffee break back in the house, and whilst I was there, I've ordered a new, old, fully tested amplifier from a Jaguar Breakers in the UK, and that'll be along shortly. Hopefully get that later in the week, and we'll just be able to swap that out. This speaker is faulty, so what I'm doing is connecting a resistance meter, ohm meter, to check resistance across the speaker terminals. Now, the exact resistance on your speaker will vary unit to unit. And if I connect up to this one, on the back terminals, it literally get open circuit. If I touch these together, there you go. So we have an open circuit across the terminals on this speaker. And unfortunately, because of the way these things are constructed, they are an Alpine speaker and they're probably decent quality, but they are assembled into this plastic frame and then their diaphragm is glued onto it. So we've got to replace the entire unit. Could certainly put some aftermarket speakers in and modify the flange on them to reach these lugs, but we'll have a little look on Tinternet, see if there's a replacement available. I'm going to have to check the front door speaker now to see if that one's blown as well. And my theory is that when these shorted out, they probably took the amplifier on that channel with it, or when the amplifier failed on that channel, it's given these a belt and caused these to fail. That's my theory anyway. So we'll take the ones out the front door and see if they're open circuit as well. Just for your interest, there's a known to be working speaker, nowhere near the same item, but just to give you the picture, if I take the two terminals on this and connect them together, we get a connection, and it's not much of a connection. Let's see what we're reading. 2,000 ohms. Right, that's 200 ohms range. There we go, 5 ohms. So these are 5 ohm speakers, allegedly. Now, I don't know if you can see this clearly or not, guys, but in the lighting I've got, this cone is very distorted, suggesting it's been driven within an inch of its life, which I can well believe. I mean, it's only got a standard amplifier, but it's certainly not in good shape. Yeah, you can definitely see it now. Very distorted, funny shape. Let's have a look at the back. Again, the construction means you can't really see very much on these, which is unfortunate. This one at least does have a label, the other one didn't. So it's a 2W93-1808 BC Alpine, obviously Jaguar branded. So that would be useful when trying to obtain some more. Let's have a look on this one to see if we get open circuit or not. I'm touching the pigtails now, which are the copper wires, very soft copper that goes from the terminals, just in there, to the diaphragm itself. These, and in doing so I'm not getting a connection either. So yeah, these are tatered, as we say. Another check you could do if you want, very simple thing. If I put two wires on here I have the two ends of the wire. Get a battery and just connect that up. No noise, no twitching, no nothing. If you do that with a speaker that works, it'll click and pop. So let's see how expensive these things are. So a couple of days have passed since we decided that these speakers were open circuit, and I bit the bullet and had to order some new ones off of the internet, and by new I mean old. And they've arrived now, not actually unpacked them properly, so these ones, I'm just going to put a mark on so that I don't get things mixed up. So they're my old ones. Let's have a look at what we've got in the box. So the only thing I've done with this is open it to find out what was in it, and now I know it's speakers. But we've not taken these out yet to bail some of these polystyrene bits. I think they call them peanuts. Could be wrong on that. Take the majority out. So these were supplied by an eBay seller who is a car breaker, a Jaguar car breaker, so be interesting to see what they look like. They've certainly done a good job of packing them, my compliments. I should be leaving them some good feedback. Let's have a look. So, we're enough out of there to see what we're doing. Nice, look. Oops. Big block of foam with a hole in. Well done, sir. Just going to put that one down, face down. The other one out. Okay. So, first impression is that's very clean. And also, just looking at the back of that, look at the condition of that seal. These look genuinely new. Very interesting. Mine, well, both mine now, that's very compressed. You see the marks where it's been installed. Whoops. In my own shadow there. See where the seal is flattened out. And these have been off the car for 3 days, so you're not going to get any bigger. This, on the other hand, looks pristine. Just taking a look round. Edge. Okay, no evidence of the Jaguar sticker that is on one of my speakers. It is a used item, sold as a used item, but I've got to say that looks close to brand new. Just have a look at, compare. Hopefully you guys can see the level of distortion in the cone on this one compared to this one. Interesting. So I'm going to say these are genuine and just in beautiful condition for used items. Lovely. Just grabbing my multimeter. We've seen that the other speakers are open circuit, whereas you would hope for anywhere between 1 and 10 ohms depending on what speakers you're actually looking at. So if I just set my meter up to read resistance in ohms and then make contact in here. Oops, come on. Very difficult to work these probes so you're not touching both terminals at the same time. Won't cause any harm, but won't give the right reading. 2.5 ohms. Two and a half ohms. Brilliant. So we're going to reinstall these immediately. Okay. So the speakers go in to these housings. Now ready to reinstall the door card. And what I'll be doing is just hooking this cable into the back of the latch and then snapping this bobbin into a little claw that's alongside it on the back of the door trim. And I've also got to connect a lead that is attached to the back of the door card into this multi-socket. But that's it. And the whole of the rest of the panel is using really nice grommets and some really nice, I'm going to show you the back of the door card again, really love this, hefty pins that have got all sorts of colour coding going on for the different sizes, standoffs, etc. It's just very professional, very well done. I love it. Compare this to the XK8's door card, and you know, you take that off, you're going to break most of the feeble brackets holding these sorts of things in place. The construction is essentially a fiberboard compressed paper wood type thing. This is leaps and bounds better. And obviously, you know, there's ultimate traditionalists who'll say, well, it's no good because it's plastic. But this is the best material for the job. It's brilliant. It's quite heavy, actually. But that's because hanging off the outside, wood, leather, rubber, all those sorts of good things. So unfortunately out of your sight line, but I can't operate the camera and do these things. Just going to connect the electrical connection, easy peasy, and hook the cable into the door lock handle, slot it in from the top, done. Rotate it round and snap it in, done. Really is that easy. And then it's just a case of guiding the first dowel into position like so. Oops. Now we're located, literally going to just thump him into position. 1, 2, 3, 4, got it, 5, I think a couple of others have just jumped on, 6, that's it, for a good measure. So that's attached, and the only fixings that are added to this are, as you remember, front door, a single scrivet goes in the bottom. So to reassemble this, you put the plastic screw inside the rivet, leaving it just in far enough so this is nice and flexy. Pop it in the hole underneath, push it all the way in with the base, the flange, and then the screw part itself, push in, and it'll go a couple of snaps, and as soon as you meet resistance, put a screwdriver in it, wind it in. Don't try and tighten it up, there's no point, it's plastic. It's already done its job, it's expanded the two ears on the back. So that's that bit. There are 2 screws that go through the armrest. 1, 2. And then the final piece of the puzzle is a Torx screw or bolt that goes through the door handle and holds the door handle back to the door. And we've got this tiny cap that's going to go in here to cover the screw head. There it is. Done. Well, I hope you enjoyed joining me on that little journey of discovery, looking at repairing little bits and pieces on BLU the XJ. But done for now. Getting cold in the garage, so I'm going in. If you enjoyed this sort of thing, then please subscribe. Loads more coming soon, both on the XJ and the XK8. And if you subscribe, please click the bell icon that YouTube offers you as an option, because that actually allows notifications to come through to say there's a new video about this coming up. See you soon, guys. Bye.